Hi everyone, welcome back to Steph's Take live stream series. This is day 9, where I feature concepts from 2 books through the lens of the accountability evangelist. Today's books are Today's Innovator by Proietti and Think Better by Tim Hurson. We're going to start with Aaron's book. All right. First thing I'm going to share with you is a quote, because one of your questions might be, what is innovation? Clearly that is the parallel between the 2 books, the main theme. So I'm going to explain to you or read to you what Aaron's definition is. Innovation is the core organizational competency for dealing with the everyday aggressive pace of change. Now he said organizational because this book is very much focused about organizations, but a lot of these concepts can be applied to your own life, and Tim Hurson makes the same point in his book. The second thing I want to share with you from Aaron's book is an organization's vision answers the question of what does success look like. It can also be thought of as an organization's ambition. So when I read that again, I read that book a little while ago, but I reread it the other day looking at my highlights. When I saw the word ambition and vision together, I had an insight moment, which is really what innovation is about. My insight was, I named my Facebook group Ambitious Accountability Ambassadors, and we spend a lot of time talking about the accountability piece, not as much time talking about the ambition piece, but it's just as important. And when you look at it through the definition of vision, then you can put it all together. So ambitious accountability ambassadors have a vision to serve people through a focus on personal accountability. So I'm so pumped. It's all coming together now, all because of innovation. Thank you, Aaron. All right, so what else about innovation? Another concept that hit me from Aaron's book that was kind of new, or right in front of me, but obvious now. And before I go further, I just want to point out that often that's how innovation is, right? Once you learn it, and they talk about this in both books actually, once you grasp it, the insight seems obvious, but before then you're totally clueless. So the genius of it is kind of lost once you get it, because you get to that aha moment and then you're past it and you look back and say, well, gee, why didn't I think of that, right? Well, I didn't. So here's one of those things. So he points out that if you shift your mindset from a current focus to a future focus, that can spark energy and excitement in an organization. And again, I would argue that would be the same for your personal life. So I can give you a personal example. In my primary job as COO at a software startup, this happened to me very recently. Just a few weeks ago, we shifted our focus from the current, meaning our customers, to the future, meaning sales. Now that's not to say we abandoned our customers or we're not working on their product or anything like that. It just means that we were so heads down, focused on serving our customers, we weren't spending a lot of time really emphasizing the future via sales. Now, you probably realize that if you do that for too long, your customers are going to hurt, because if you don't have new sales coming in, you can't reinvest in your current customers. So anyway, I was asked to take on the role of sales operations in addition to the other pieces of my COO role. And I did that and really kind of jumped in, and it has energized everybody. So the company hasn't changed at all. We haven't changed the product. We really haven't changed our strategy. But our focus has changed to the future. So we're really pushing sales first. That's where we spend most of our time. That's where I'm spending most of my time, which is really different for me because the COO role is mostly internally focused in a lot of ways. But the point that Aaron's making in the book is all you have to do is shift that mindset, and all of a sudden everybody's pretty pumped about innovation. And that's exactly where we're at, and we're having a blast. All right, let's move on to Tim Hurson's book, Think Better. As we've heard in both growth mindset and brain rules, you can train your brain to think better, and Tim makes that point. Specifically, he focuses on the difference between reproductive thinking and productive thinking. So they both have their place, so one's not better than the other necessarily. Reproductive thinking is really important when your aim is efficiency and or 0 defects, right? And what goes along with that is if the consequences of failure are high, you want reproductive thinking, right? Now, On the other hand, productive thinking is way better in situations where you're looking for insights. Okay, the consequence of failure is low, and you're looking for breakthrough change. You aren't going to get breakthrough change through reproductive thinking. So naturally, this book's about innovation, so most of the focus is on productive thinking and failing a lot, because failure is learning, as we learned with growth mindset, right? And now that I'm in an entrepreneurial adventure in this startup, I can tell you that we live this all the time. We're encouraged to fail as fast as possible. So if your comfort zone is success all the time, it's a bit of a shift, but it is exciting once you get used to it to run these experiments as fast as you can, figure out what's working, and then iterate to a better version. All right, both books emphasize that. So the other thing is, actually both books talk about this as well, comfort with ambiguity. So as an entrepreneur and as someone who is aiming toward innovation, you have to be okay not knowing exactly what to do at a given moment, not having all the answers. You still have to move forward, right? Even at the expense of those answers, because speed is really critical. And again, that's a shift I had to make myself, but as I'm making it, I totally see why that's important. And innovation is really exciting. The other point that they make is not to skip steps. So we talked about, on day 3 it was, we spoke about the book Leading Change by John Cotter, and he made the point not to skip steps. You know, he had an 8-step program. Both Aaron and Tim have frameworks in their books I recommend that you check out. They're both valid. You could do both of them. They're great. In both cases, you do not want to skip steps. And a couple of the key steps are defining the problem. All right, so I think it was Tim that said, there's nothing productive about solving the wrong problem. So you don't want to go the wrong direction, spend a lot of time on it, and solve the wrong thing. Similarly, you have to make sure everybody is aligned about the definition of success, right? So what does success look like? It can look different to other people. So you don't want to make the assumption that everybody agrees on it. You have to ask. You have to talk it out. You have to document it. So then as you move through the steps and you get to the end and you've done what you said you were going to do, everyone can celebrate because everybody agrees that you've made it. Otherwise, if half the people are thinking success is something else, you're going to have wasted a lot of time. All right, so I want to wrap up with a couple quotes by Tim and then a discussion about your own routine and how to shake it up. Okay. Productive thinking is a model and a discipline, but perhaps even more, it's an attitude. Through it, we look at problems and convert them into opportunities. We look at the world and see that we can always do better. We look at challenges and see that nothing is impossible. If you make productive thinking part of your life, you find you get better at just about everything you do. And finally, if you want to change your behavior, the biggest investment you have to make is in yourself. Those who are willing benefit. Those who aren't, don't. It's that simple. Sounds like accountability to me, which is why I love it, of course. All right, so let's talk about shaking up your routine. So when it comes to innovation in your own personal life, think about what you do and why you do it, right? What do you do every day? What time do you get up? What order do you do things? Question everything and ask, what else could I be thinking about? Which is something that Tim talked about quite a bit when it comes to brainstorming new ideas. Asking about what else. Tomorrow, we're going to hear what else again. That's a little teaser. So what else could I be doing? What would happen if I did this differently? Right? Challenge the status quo in your organizations, but also in your own life. If you're always doing what you've always done, you're going to get the same result, right? So if you're looking for breakthrough change in your own life, you have to examine your routine, think critically about it, and get excited about all the opportunities. Run a few experiments, right? What happens if I have dessert before dinner? Is the world going to come crashing down, or is there some other exciting consequence going to happen? You never know, right? Try it out. Try different things out, see what works for you, tweak them, try again, run these experiments because everybody's different, right? And innovation looks different to different people. And you have this wonderful subject yourself that you can experiment on for your lifetime. That's how you grow. All right. That's it for now. I'll see you next time.